Hey guys, it's Lori with LM's Crafty Creations, and I am back with a new project to share with you. I have been away for just a little while because my daughter got sick with the flu right after school ended, and then I got bronchitis, and I feel like I've been sick for weeks. So we are all on the mend now, and everything is much better. So I have been able to work on this project kind of a little bit here and there, and I really like the way it turned out. This is a project for countrycraftcreations.com for the design team, and I use the Authentique Scholastic paper collection. The album measures 7.5 by 10, and I'm sure you can tell that it has a little bit different orientation than most albums. It actually flips up this way. And so I just felt like doing something a little bit different. And every page style in this album is different. So I put a lot of work into this one. So the tutorial is going to be right after I finish kind of going through the review. And I just want to warn you, it's probably going to be a little bit longer than my normal ones, just because there are so many there's 4 different page styles, and they're different front and back. So let's get to it. So this is, I've done a cut apart on the front cover. I love Authentique's school paper, school collection. I forgot the other one that I had used before. Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, they always do the school papers beautifully. I loved this like collage, quilt looking look. And then this floral right here. I've added some red seam binding on the spine. I just did this gorgeous gingham paper. And then, of course, you have to have the apples for school. Super cute. So I'm going to flip it up, and this is going to be a little bit awkward just because of the orientation of the book. So on the front cover, I've just layered the design team paper, and this cut apart came with the collection, and it was so cute because it just says has that vintage this book belongs to, and so I just left it like that. I didn't want a pocket or anything here, which is unusual for me. You know that. So here on the first page, I have like a photo mat here. This is a sticker that says first day of school. In the pocket, I have, this is just the actual packaging from the paper collection. I always like to keep these from Authentique because I think that they're cool just to fold in half and to journal on them or even place photos. So that is in there. This flips open, and so you have 2 spaces for full-size photos here. This is a sticker from the collection that I added some seam binding to, and then I'm going to have to kind of move it over this way. And I have 2 pockets here, and these are the cut aparts, and I've made them into booklets. And there is one on each side. I love the vintage look of this collection. And so this closes, and then it opens up this way. And I've actually just matted this with paper, but I cut into the paper right here, and I've made it into a pocket. So I have just a cut apart and then just some smaller photo mats that I like to tuck inside there. This right here is an actual like flap that's also a pocket. There's a sticker from the collection here, and then there's a standalone booklet that you can pull out here. And it's just blank. You could decorate it, or I just left it blank just so you could write on it, or you could just put your photos on it. And this goes back into this pocket here. And then you just have a space for a photo here, and then you could put a photo here, but I just chose to put this sticker from the collection. I thought it was cute. This closes this way, and I don't have any magnets on this page or anything to hold it down. It just stays like that. And then the whole thing flips up. So on the next page, I just have a pocket right here and a photo mat. So these will hold full 4x6 photos. And then here I've used some elastic. Let me kind of get it off. And it flips up both ways, and then they flip out. So you have a place for a photo there. This is, I believe, a full-size photo. One here, and then one here, and then you could put smaller photo mats or just whatever you wanted to in there. So when you close it, it will all stay nice and tidy. So on the next page, It's the easiest way to do this. I'm going to tuck it between the camera. I have another one of those pocket flaps, so this comes out, and I've done another booklet. I just added the seam binding and decorated it with a paper on the front, and then I left it plain on the inside and the back. So this is magnetized and it flips up, and you can just put this booklet right in here. And then this is a strip from the collection. This flips up, and you have a space for a photo here with a cut apart, and then a sticker from the collection with two smaller photos, and then it flips up again, and you have one full-size photo, and you can put a photo here, and then I chose to put a little decoration on this side. And this all closes, and there's two magnets right here, and it keeps it closed. So we're going to go to the next page, is like an envelope. And I've done some eyelets with some cute ribbon there, and then I did an elastic closure again with I punched out some of the paper and then just did an eyelet there, and it lifts up and down. So at the top you have these double pockets, and these you can put smaller photos in. I left them all blank because I thought, you know, with this kind of album you might want to do some journaling. It would be cute to, you know, have your kid write their name or whatever, so you could see at what stage they're at right now. And then there's just photo mats here in this larger pocket down here. And here I've just cut the paper, what I had left just to fit. So I kind of, what do you call it, pieced everything together with this collection. This is a sticker and then a full-size photo. I love, this is part of the paper collection. It has these lined notebook lines, and that would be a great place to journal. So this just closes like so, and the elastic goes back down, whoops, over here. On the next page, there's a pocket at the top, and I have, again, another photo booklet. That just fits right in there. These are magnetized, the cut aparts are, and they flip out, and then you can put photos on those, and then these flip down. I can't get it all in the frame. But so there's these two, or four, and then these two, and then these two. All spaces for photos there. And they keep closed with the magnets. Then it flips up again. And I love this page. It's one of my favorites. I've used this, I did two eyelet, what do you call these? Like policy envelope style closures is what I'm looking for. And I just tied this elastic around them. This comes completely off, and then I just accent it with this seam binding just to make it look cute. And then these photo mats open this way. Now this is going to be large. I'm not going to be able to get it all in the frame. And they flip out kind of like a waterfall. You have a cut apart here, or a sticker here. It says I love my teacher. And then just smaller ways to do different size photos here. There's a landscape here, portrait on this side with a sticker. This is a sticker that says just another day, and it flips again. Everyone loves recess, photo mat, some smaller photo mats here, and then I just put the paper here and a sticker there. And then again, another photo mat here, one here, and then another one here. So there's tons of room for photos. And then here you could put whatever you want. And I actually left the branding strip down here at the bottom because I loved it. And the quote that goes with all Authentique has with all their paper collections, they have a different quote. This one says, "Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire," by W.B. Yeats. Yeats. Anyway, so that is so cool. I love that one, and this just closes like this. Now I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm on camera. I'm going to fumble around with it. Okay, then on this page, again, I did the ribbon with the eyelets, and then I made a pocket out of these little, these are like cut aparts from the collection, and just photo mats, and this flips up. And then you have two belly bands here that are holding this photo mat. And I have decorated it again. I left the quote there, punched out some stars, And then I have 2 places for photos. And then these open. And then here I just glued down pieces of black paper and made them into pockets so I could just tuck a photo mat up under there. I did it on both sides. And there's smaller photo mats. And then these are 4x4 photos right here. So that closes and this keeps it shut. Okay. And then at the bottom here you have another large pocket with a booklet. And then here you have double pockets with, these are like 3x4 booklets. And they're both the same. Now this one flips up, and on our last page, I did something a little bit different. I loved this cut apart. It says, "Mom, we're back." I thought that was so cute, so I kind of stuck it right here. This comes out. This just wraps around and opens up. You can put a photo there. And on this side, I did place for photo here. And then there are photo mats in the pocket. And this flips out as well. You have another photo mat on this side, and then these flip up, and you can put whatever you want to here. So this would be a good place to keep, their report cards or, whatever you want to keep. So that is cute, and this just wraps around here. So I've added my elastic using the eyelets, and then I did the policy envelope closure here. On the very bottom or cover of the book, I did do a pocket on the back cover. I just pieced together this paper. I did leave this open right here in case you wanted to tuck something behind there. And then I just did a side pocket here. And these are just, this is just a photo mat booklet that I made. Okay, so that's it. So it's a little bit different, which is what I love about it. It was a super fun collection, super cute, very vintage, retro kind of stuff that I love. And I thought that I thought it turned out really good. So I hope you do too. And let's get right into the tutorial. So it's a large book. Like I said, it measures 7.5 by 10 inches. So let me get all of my stuff out for you. And since every page is different, like I said, it's going to take just a little bit to roll through this, but I'll try to go as quickly as I can. And at the end of the video, if you want to stick around, I'm going to go through the binding system for this one because I've been getting a lot of questions on that lately. But if you don't, I'm keeping it to the end of the video in case, you got that and you don't need any help. So I'm going to use my favorite art glitter glue here. This is my bone folder, my favorite bone folder, and you can get these at bonefolder.com. Let's see, my Tim Holtz scissors. I can't think of anything else I need. So we're going to start out with the base pages. So for your base pages, now every single video I do, the measurements are always at the bottom in the description box. So make sure you check that out. All your measurements are there. You can go, pause the video, cut everything, label it, come back, and then go through it with me. But I'm going to give you the measurements and the scoring as I go as well. So the base pages, you're going to cut 4 pieces at 6.5 by 9.5 for the base pages. And you're going to also cut 4 pieces at 6.5 by 10.5. And you're going to score on the 10.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And I'm going to go ahead and fold on those score lines. And we're going to put this together. And you're going to do all of your base pages the same way. I'm only going to put one with you together with you. I cannot speak. It's been a while since I've been on camera. I like to glue down this side first because sometimes with this craft cardstock it likes to move on me when I get mad. So, like I said, I'm just going to put one of these together with you, and I've already put the other three together off camera. So if you need to do that, you'll need to pause right here and put them all together. Okay, this is our base page. You want to make sure as you're going through this that your hole place for your hinges is at the top while we're working through these pages. So on the first page, let's see, I gotta remember what I did. That's always a challenge. So the first piece, you're going to cut a piece at 7 inches by 9.5 inches. You're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch and go ahead and fold on that score line. And we're just going to glue this. Actually, what I'm going to do is miter the corners. Just take off that corner. So you're going to start at the score line and cut. And I'm going to put my glue on the inside. And I'm going to stick this flap on the inside of here. Make sure you don't go over the score line, just right up next to it. And there's our first flap. Okay. Now, make sure that folds down. Okay. Now, we're going to work off of this. We're going to do the smaller flap next. Cut this piece to 5.5 by 10 inches, and you're going to score on the 10-inch side at 1/2 inch. Go ahead and fold on that score line. You're going to add the glue right to this flap. Now, I used an entire package of cardstock when I made this album. And you might even use more than that once you get done making all the photo mats and things like that. Okay, so there's this flap that flips open. Next piece is going to be a pocket. You're going to cut it to 6.5 by 6 3/4, and you're going to score on the 6 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 6.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then miter your corners where your score lines meet, and then give them a fold. And this pocket is going to go right here. Now what I did on mine is I'd used my envelope punch board to do this. So let me show you. Let's see, I think I went in at about... So I've got my pocket folded here, and then I put the open end in my envelope punch board and put the end of it at 1/2 inch, and I gave it a punch. And then I flipped it over and I did the same thing. Okay. And then I cut this off. So I don't have my stuff with me here, so I'm just going to have to do ruler and pencil because my cutter is over there. And I'm just going to cut this middle part off so you get that look. Like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add it to the flap. Okay. Just like that. I'm using the craft cardstock from Hobby Lobby, and it just, I say this every time, I feel like during every video, but it just takes it just a second more to grab to the paper for some reason. Okay, next we're going to do the double pockets. So this is going to open, and we're going to work on this side. We have 2 pockets. You're going to cut them to 4 inches by 4 5/8. You're going to score on the 4-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 4 5/8 of an inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. I can't talk. That's a mouthful. I'm mitering the corners. And I'm going to go ahead and fold on the score lines. And you know what? These look small. I wonder if this is right. It doesn't look right. It's not right. I'm going to have to recut these. That's not right. I don't know what I did there, but that measurement is incorrect. Trash. Sorry. Give me a second. Let's rethink this. Get my paper. Okay, so sorry. Let's measure again. It should be 5 5/8 by 4. That's probably where I messed up. Did I write it down wrong? Nope, I just cut it wrong. Sorry, guys. Cut it at 4. Five 5/8. And again. Let me score it quick and we'll be back on our way. Okay. Now I'm going to take my page and I'm going to miter my corners again. And we're actually going to be able to attach them this time. That's what happens. I started off cutting these pieces watching Iron Man and I got distracted. So I realized I was getting distracted and I turned it off. I turned the TV off, but I guess it was too late. So we're just going to fold on all of our score lines. And we're going to add them to the page. And if I'm lucky, that is the only thing that I measured incorrectly this time. Okay, I always start on the edge. So, just because it's easier for me that way, so I know that when this one goes down, I have enough of a gap over here on this side. I don't have to like measure it or anything. So if you have a gap on that side, it's normal. You're supposed to have it. Should be, I don't know, it's about 1/8 of an inch or maybe a little more gap between where the pocket ends and then the fold begins for the flap. And there are our double pockets. Okay, now we're going to lift this up and do our little flat pocket. So you're going to cut one piece at 2.5 by 9.5. Go ahead and miter the corners of the little hinge and fold it. And I'm going to put glue on the inside of the flap. And I'm going to stick it up this way. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pocket that I cut to 2.5 by 10.5, and you're going to score on the 2.5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10.5-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then miter the corners, fold on your score lines. We're just going to add it right on top of that flap to make this cool little pocket that will hold a booklet. And I don't think I've written down the measurements of the booklet to give you right off the top of my head, but they'll be in the description box in case you want to know exactly what size booklets I made for my album. I got a thunderstorm trying to happen outside. If you hear the thunder. Okay. That's it for this one. There is the front of page 1. So now we're going to flip it this way. So careful when you do this. You know that your book is going to go up this way. So make sure that you're doing this right so that the orientation of the page is correct. So we're going to flip it just like we would if we were flipping the page. And we're going to work off of this area right here. And do page 1 back. So on the first one, it's a flap that's 9 inches by 'Are you kidding me? Hold on. Page 1 front. Oh, I just didn't score it all. Wow. I am on a roll here. I didn't score all of my paper. So it is going to be 9 inches by 7.5. I did get that right. And you're going to score on the 7.5-inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And then on the 9-inch side at 1/2 inch. And then you're going to miter the corner. Now on this one I did the same envelope thing, so I'm going to grab that and go ahead. I'm folding on all of my score lines here. I'm going to grab my envelope punch board and I'm going to punch it the same way I did the other one. I'm going to take it with the open end of the pocket going first. I'm going to punch it at 1/2 inch, flip it, and I'm going to do it at 1/2 inch again. And then I'm going to cut this piece off. And now I'm going to glue it to my page. So it should take up the whole page. Good, I did it right. This is a large album. I used quite a bit of glue for this album too. So if you don't buy refills for your art glitter glue, if you're using that, I would suggest going ahead and buying a refill. Because it's such a big album, it takes a lot of glue. Okay. Now we're going to do the other part. So now you're going to cut 2 flaps at 5.5 by 6.25, and you're going to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Go ahead and fold on all of the score lines. So you should have an 1/8 of an inch gusset on these flaps. And I will show you what I mean in a minute. Okay. So see my gusset right there? It's just a little bitty ledge. And now you're going to take these 2 pieces and you're going to kind of join them together like so, where they overlap. Okay. And then you're going to add your glue right here. And I'm going to keep them together while I stick them down. Make sure you don't glue down. And they are actually a little smaller than the, they're a little shorter than the page. So you're going to just center them. Okay? There's a reason for that. So see, when I open them up, there's a little gap at the top and then a little gap at the bottom. Then I'm going to take my little closure pieces. These are cut at 2 3/4 by 5 7/8. And you're going to score on the 2 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Sorry, 2 3/4 by 4 7/8. Yeah. Man, I'm telling you. I am struggling today. Sometimes it's kind of hard to fold on those small score lines. They're so close together. Now for this, again, you're going to have a gusset. Make sure you don't glue down your gusset. And you're going to add your glue to this side this time. And you want to tuck it in between here. Make sure you don't glue down your pages. Now if you want to hold on a minute before you jump right in and just watch, that's probably a good idea. My hair's getting in the way. Okay, here we go. And you can put this all the way at the top of the page. Line it up all the way at the top. But don't glue down your gusset like I'm trying not to do. Okay, there we go. The gusset's there for a reason. So when you open this up, it should essentially be glued right here. And you'll do the same. If it's easier for you, let's try it the other way by just gluing with it open. Sometimes I like to glue it with it closed just so I make sure everything closes correctly. Oh, I was trying not to sneeze. Sorry. So again, putting it at the bottom of the page, not gluing down that gusset. So here you have your fold, and then you're going to close, close, and then these are going to keep it closed. Just like so. Cool, huh? And then I used the 2 eyelets with the policy envelope closure. You could use magnets, but I recommend the policy envelope because that way it's cheaper. Okay, page 1 is done, guys. So let's move on to page 2 and clear some of my trash out of the way. I'm going to get another base page. Page 2 has the pocket front again. So you're going to take the first flap, and it is cut at 4 1/4 by 9 1/2, and you're going to score on the 4 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. Go ahead and fold on that, and then miter here, because we're going to stick it on the inside of the pocket, the base page. Just like that. Make sure it's, oops, it's come out on me. Don't do that. Okay, like so. This page is super easy. So then you're going to have a pocket that goes on top of this. That pocket is cut to 4 1/4 by 10 1/2, and you're going to score on the 4 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And you want to miter the corners and fold on the score lines. Okay, and I'm just going to add this right on top of this flap right here. And it should line up perfectly. Okay, well that's going to flip down. Now on my album I put a magnet on here and here, and then I attach it to the flaps. Now your first flap, let's see, you're going to do the larger flap first. So this one's cut to 5 1/2 by 9 1/2. Score on the 5 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch. Go ahead and fold on that score line. Add your glue, and you're going to add it to the top. And I guess you could tuck this inside the pocket if you wanted to, but I didn't think about it just now, so I'm just going to add it right here. Really doesn't matter either way. Okay, and then you're going to take the next flap, which is cut to 4 3/4 by 9 1/2, and you're going to score on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And fold on that score line and add your glue to the right side, the correct side of the flap. And stick it on top of the other one. Okay, so then I put my magnets here. Actually what I did, I think I put my magnets on the flaps first, and then I stuck them here. Does that make sense? So that way they lined up properly. Okay, so now this one's going to flip over this way, and we're going to do page 2, the back of page 2. So I'm going to flip my book and my album so I know what that looks like. This is the envelope looking page. So the first piece is cut to 6 3/4 by 9 1/2, and you're going to score on the 6 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then you're going to fold on that score line. Let's go ahead and miter this and add it on the inside of the pocket. So add your glue. And then let's put it right inside here. If I can get it. For some reason this paper is being difficult with me today and it doesn't want to open. So I can stick it in there. Okay. There's our flap. And then let's do the top flap, which is 3 inches by 9.5 inches. This is the closure, and you're going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch. I went ahead and rounded my corners on this piece, and I'm going to fold it. I'm going to go ahead and miter the corners again because I am going to go ahead and add it on the inside of the base page. So add your glue on the inside. Like so. And stick it in at the top. Make sure it's lined up. Make sure you're not gluing it down like I almost did. And then we're going to do the 2 smaller pockets first. Now these 2 pockets are cut to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and then you're going to score on 3 sides for each piece at 1/2 inch to make your pocket. And then you're going to miter your corners. And let's go ahead and fold on the score lines. Excuse me. So these, we're going to add the glue. Add the first one on the, I'm doing the left-hand side first. And then I will add the one for the right side. Oops, my computer's trying to go off on me. Don't go off. And you actually want to kind of bring it up a bit from the base. You want a little gap down there at the bottom. And then this one is going to go right here. Should be a perfect fit. And while that's sticking down, I apologize. I got a text. I got to check my phone. My daughter's with my parents. And I have to make sure that they don't need anything. Okay, now finally we're going to do the longer pocket. That one's cut at 3.5 by 10.5 inches, and you're going to score on the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then miter the corners. And we're going to add this one right on top of here. And then that's it for this page. We are on to what, page 3 already? It's going by a little faster than I thought. They aren't complicated pages, they're just time consuming with all the different pockets. I'm not very complicated, y'all should know that by now. Okay, now this is looking good. Make sure everything lines up right? Otherwise it's not going to look good. Okay, so this is going to close, this is going to close, and you'll have your closure here. Now you can do a policy envelope or the half one that I did with the elastic to keep that closed. So that's it for that page. Let's go on to the next, page 3. So I'm going to grab another base page, get rid of some of my trash. And so for page 3, the front of page 3, let's see. You're going to do the pocket first. This is cut to 5.5 by 10.5 inches. Score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And miter the corners. And fold on your score lines. And this pocket's going to just be added directly to the bottom of the page. Just like this. Glue's getting all gunky. And then to this page, we're going to add the flaps. So you need to cut 4 flaps at 4 3/4 by 5.5, and then you're going to score on the 5.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And these are super simple. We're just going to fold them. And we're going to add them right at the bottom. So put glue on your first one and then add them to the very bottom. Line it up on the either side, right or left, whatever you want to start with is fine. We just want to make sure that they're all the way to the edge and that they open independently of each other and don't get caught. That's the trick here. So you're going to add your glue to the next one and then put it right next to that. And it should just fit. There may be just a slight gap in between them, but otherwise it should be perfect. Okay. And then the other two you're just going to add on top of each one and line them up. So this one I'm going to add on top of this left one here, making sure they're lined up perfectly, as perfect as you can get them. And then the other one. Okay. Then you're going to take your little cards. So these are 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. No scoring. I put mine here and I centered them. And then you're going to have these two little pieces that are going to connect them. These are cut at 1.5 by 2.5, and then you're going to score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then 5/8 of an inch to give it a gusset again. So fold those. They'll end up looking like that. Can you see that? And what I'm going to do is add my glue like so. And then I'm going to lift the flaps up. And I'm going to center this as best I can. I'm just going to eyeball it. If you want to measure it, you can. I don't. And I'm going to stick that down. I might have measured it on the original. I don't remember if I did or not. But I'm not going to on this one. And I'm just going to get it as centered as I can and stick it down. Looks good to me. Okay. And then you're going to take these and figure out, you're going to center them as best you can on the page as well. And what I did is once I had them where I thought that it looked centered, I took my pencil and I marked it right here. So I know that my glue only goes that far. And that's where the card's going to go. Okay. You still have to kind of line it up. Make sure you center it. But I just eyeballed it. Now if you want to get technical on me and really measure, that is absolutely fine. Go for it. And I'm adding the glue just to the flap. Okay. And then you'll add your magnets to keep these closed. Cute. Okay, now what else do we have? The back of page 3, super easy. It's got the large photo mats. These are cut to 6.5 by 6 3/4, and you're going to want to cut 6 of them. And you're going to do this like a waterfall. So you're going to score these on the 6 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then fold on your score lines, of course. And let's go ahead and fold on all of them, because we're going to add them, like I said, just like a waterfall. 3 on one side and then 3 on the other, and that's it for this page. And then you just choose whatever closure you want. Okay, now I've got all mine folded, and I'm just going to start adding my glue. And the first one I'm going to put on this side, right on the top. Like so. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the next one. I'm going to add it on this side. So add your glue. And this side. Okay. Alright, now you're going to open them up. And you're going to take your next one and you're going to add it right where the hinge of the other one ended, just like a waterfall. Okay? Just like that. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. And then we're going to do this one more time. And that will be the end of that page. So the closure I did on this page, like I said, was like sort of like a policy envelope closure. I used 1/8 of an inch elastic, and I actually bought my elastic off Amazon. And it's, I forget, I think it comes in like a 5-yard deal. I love using elastic in my albums, and I just add it with an eyelet. So I thread it through, you know, I punch the hole with my crocodile, thread, you know, put it through the hole, and then put my eyelet in the hole as well, and then I punch the crocodile and set the eyelet. And that's how I set the elastic. And what I did when I did my policy envelope closures, the little round part that you saw, I just punched out from the design paper. I used my 1-inch circle punch, which is actually sitting right here. And I punched it out 3 times and then glued those 3 circles together. So that's it for this page. So they fold alternate? Okay, whatever. So what I did is I punched a hole here, and then I punched a hole here, and then I took my design paper and punched out 3 circles, and then I punched a hole in those 3 circles after I glued them together. And then I set my eyelet with the circles. Am I making sense? I don't have any paper right here next to me to show you exactly what I'm talking about, but I do have a policy envelope tutorial on my channel, so I will link that down below so that way that helps you guys, because I know that that's not really making much sense what I'm saying. Alright, next page. So we're on our final base page, and the front of this page has a large flap that is cut to 7 1/8 by 9 1/2, and you're going to score on the 7 1/8 of an inch side at 1/2 and 5/8 of an inch, and fold on your score lines. So again, with this piece, you'll have a little gusset here, like that. And I am going to miter the corners and stick it inside the base page like I've been doing. That one I got cut short. There we go. Which means I'm going to put my glue on the inside of the flap and put it right here. Now I'm going to be careful not to go over my score line. Forgive me if my hair and everything is getting in the way. You can see my blue shirt. Okay, here we go. So that is on there. Next, let's go ahead and do the pocket at the bottom, the larger one. This one's cut to 4 3/4 by 10 1/2 inches. You're going to score on the 4 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Miter your corners and fold on your score lines. And you're going to add this just right to the bottom. And then we can go ahead and add the smaller pockets too. There's 2 of those. They're cut at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then you're going to score on the 2 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 5 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Miter your corners. Are you sick of hearing me say that? Because I'm kind of sick of saying it. Alright, go ahead and fold on your score lines. And then we're going to add these. I think, let me measure. Figure out where I added them. Did I do this in the middle? Maybe I'll just measure it that way. At the 4 3/4 inch mark. I probably did measure that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to mark where 4 3/4 inches is. It's about right there. And I'm going to mark it right here too. That's the middle of the page. And that's where I'm going to add both of these. So these are side pockets. So I'm going to add my glue. And I'm going to line it up with that mark And I'm going to put a pocket on each side of the mark. So this one goes first, and then the other one will be butted up right up against this one. Here's the next one. Hang in there with me, guys. We're on the home stretch. This one's almost done. Here's this one. And then you can get to the fun part, or what I think is the fun part, is the decorating. Okay, there's your pockets, and they should be perfectly even on the page. Now you're going to cut 2 flaps to 5 1/4 by 6 1/2, and you're going to score on the 5 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. And you're going to go ahead, fold, and fold. And you know that you're going to add one to each side of the page. So let's do that. This one here, make sure you're lining it up with the top, because you know this page has a gusset. There's a reason for that, to give it some room. And now the other one. And they should line up just perfectly. If they don't, adjust them while you're gluing them down. They shouldn't overlap. They should butt right up against each other. Okay? And then you're going to add the belly bands to the middle of this. So these are cut to 1 1/4 by 7 1/2. And I didn't score my belly bands, so I'm going to do that now. Score on the 7 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. I was in a hurry to get done with my cutting, I guess, so I didn't score them. Okay, go ahead and fold on those and add your glue. Now again, I'm just eyeballing this. If you're a stickler for getting directly in the middle of the page, go ahead and measure. But I'm not. So that looks good to me. Okay. Fold both of those. Still trying to storm outside. Let's see, it's been moved over just a bit. That's good. Okay. And then you're going to have your piece. The piece that goes inside of here is cut to 6 1/4 by 8 1/2. Clean off my glue. All right. So we got one more page to do. That's it for this one. You're going to fold it down, flip it up. And let's work off of this page. And then, for those of you that are comfortable with doing the binding system, you can sign off here. But after this page. But the rest of you will need to hang in. All right. So the first thing, let me take a peek at the book. I don't remember what I added first. So this flap goes on top of that. So I did add that first. Okay. Alrighty. Sometimes I gotta remind myself what I do. So we're gonna add the large flap first. This one's cut to 7 3/4 by 6 1/2. You're gonna score on the 7 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. So go ahead and fold on that score line. Did I add that one first? Hang tight. I think that I didn't. I think I did this like a waterfall as well. That one, sure enough. Glad I remembered that. So actually we're going to need to add the first flap first. So set this one aside, grab this smaller flap. It's cut at 5 3/4 by 6 1/2. Score on the 5 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. Fold on that score line, and let's go ahead and add that one to the top of the page, like so. Okay. And then you're going to open this up and add the other one just like you would a waterfall page. Add your glue. This is the larger flap. Keep missing the page on the glue. And you're going to add it right below that hinge, just like I said, like a waterfall. Okay. Now I'm going to add these side closure flaps. They are cut to 3 inches by 6.5 inches. Score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 of an inch. Go ahead and fold on those. You're going to have a little gusset here. Okay. Add your glue to your flap here and glue it down on this flap. Make sure you're not gluing down your gusset. Now I might not have needed a gusset here, but I added one just in case. Do the same thing to the other side. Now on this side, a gusset might come in handy. Okay. Now, if you fold open these two flaps, it doesn't look like it's gluing down. Okay. And then on this page, we're going to put a pocket. So the pocket is 5 by 7.5 inches, and you're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 7.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. Miter the corners and fold on the score lines. And we're going to add it right here. On top of this flap. And you're not going to go over, there's a hinge here, there's going to be a gusset here where the waterfall starts. You're not going to add it right up next to that. It's right on top of this flap here, where this flap begins on this side. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and then we have 2 more things to add, and then we're done with the pages. So we're going to add these little flaps that will keep in whatever you add to the middle of this. They are 2.5 by 8.5. You're going to do 2 of these. Score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and you'll notice that I already, on all of these, rounded my corners. You can do that if you wish, or you could leave them straight if you like. I'm going to add my glue and just stick it right up at the top. And I'm just going to center it. It doesn't fit the page exactly. That was on purpose, so you just center it as best you can. Okay. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. And then I'm going to add the other one at the bottom. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just lining it up at the bottom. Okay. All right. And then you close these, and then you add your closure. So I did the 2 eyelets here with the elastic that came around this policy envelope stock closure again. And that is it. Now let me talk about binding. Since a lot of people have had binding questions lately, I'm going to go ahead and share some tips with you on how I do mine quickly, because I'm already at 1 hour and 10 minutes on this video, and that's freaking insane. So I've already cut and scored my binding pieces, so just like they are, where are they? Those aren't it. These are it. Just like the measurements that I provide you, these are cut to exactly that. So let me talk about this. So you have 2 pieces, right? So you're going to join these together. So this is the first where it's 2 inches right here. To join these together, you're going to add this one. See, it's a 1-inch score, 1-inch hinge. You're going to glue that right on top of here to make your one big binding piece, okay? So let's just do that. And I'm going to do it sloppily. Make sure you don't go over the score line. That's very important. Don't go over the score line on this page when you're gluing this down. If you do, it's going to mess it up. So, and then when you turn this over, you should still not be over the score line on this part either. Okay? So here is the full binding system. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece, and I'm going to flip it over. This is the bumpy side of the score lines. And this is the one that has the indented side. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over to the bumpy side, and I'm going to fold on this first score line. You can't see it, can you? Right here. That's in between these 2 1-inch scores. So, can you see that? So I'm going to fold that right there. And then I'm going to take this piece and fold it this way. Okay? Now, for my album, I gave you 5/8 of an inch gussets because I felt like it needed a little more. I'm going to add my glue. Now, normally I do a combination of glue and score tape, but I'm running low on score tape, so I'm just going to do glue right now to show you what I'm doing. So now I'm going to glue this down. This is going to give me my very first hinge. It's going to be a 1-inch hinge, okay? This is how I make my binding. So let me flip this over. This is my first hinge right here. 1 inches. You're going to add your page to this hinge. So the page we just finished making, when you get ready to add it, you're going to find your center. You know it's the center because you can see through it. There you go. And you're going to add it. You're going to miter these corners right here so that it fits perfectly. And you're going to add it. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to miter the corners about halfway down. Halfway down. Because I'm only going to glue my page halfway down, okay? So I'm going to take the center and I'm going to stick it on this hinge like so. And I'm going to glue it right there. Okay? Just like that. Does that make sense? I'm going to glue it just like that. If you want to measure, you can. I don't. So let's go back to the... So here's your gusset is your next score line. So this one's your gusset right here. And then you're going to have... Let me zoom in. Can I zoom in? I'm kind of zoomed out right now. There we go. And then you're going to have this score line. That's the one we're going to fold on next. Okay? So we're going to fold away from us. And then we're going to take this score line right here and we're going to fold it towards us. Okay? That's what gives us our hinge and our gusset. And then we're going to glue. Just like that. Okay, and we're just going to continue doing this until we get all the way at the end. And I'm being sloppy with it and folding everything every which way. So now we have our second hinge. Okay, 2 hinges. You're going to have 4 pages. You should have 4 hinges. And when you get done, you'll have what I call these wings, and those are what will attach. You'll put your glue on the entire back of it and the wings, and that will just help anchor it to your book. Okay, so I hope that helps with understanding the measurements for the binding system that I provide, and how to make it. So you would just continue on just like I just showed you with the other 2 hinges. All right. What else do I have for you? Don't forget, when you are putting together your covers, make sure that you have a piece like this. You'll have your chipboard right here, right? You're going to have a 1-inch border around your chipboard to be able to fold it over, but then you're going to add your extra 12 by 12 piece. This is not 12 by 12, but you're going to add this. You're going to connect it right here, and then put your spine and then the next chipboard piece, because that's how the book is done. Okay, that makes sense? Hope so. That's all I've got for you, I think. If you have any questions, of course, I will try to make myself available. Let me zoom out for you just a tiny bit. Again, I will link you down below on how to do the envelope style closure, policy envelope closure. I would recommend doing that here instead of a brad, because the brad is kind of eating away at my elastic a little bit. It's too sharp for it. So use this style closure if you're going to do that, okay? Because this is very gentle on the elastic, and I don't have any issues with the circles. Okay, that's all I have for you. I hope you love the album. I hope you make one. If you do, I would love to see it. So hop on over to my Facebook page at LM's Crafty Creations, or to the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations Facebook page. I am on there as well, and I would love to see what you do with this album. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.